welcome to you all. This is a continuation of our series, Citizens of the World on Common Ground. And I'm sad to say that this is going to be the last episode in our series for this semester, because our last speaker on the 30th had to get called away to a meeting. But we will start again next semester in February, exploring other regions of the world that we haven't explored thus far. So again, today we're looking at Asia and India. And our speakers today are Laxmi Tewari from the Music Department and Rashmi Singh from the Humanities Department. Let's give them a big hand. Thank
you. I don't like to sit down when I talk. I like to walk around. The topic really interested me very much, the citizens of the world, and talking about global issues. And I'm not going to talk about in particular about India, although I may bring some of my information about India and so forth. But I have traveled for my research purposes in many different parts of the world, and I have lived with people without any kind of connections, and I found a wonderful place to stay with them. Eat their food, sleep with them, enjoy their lifestyle, and have a good time. And I have very, very positive experiences with these travels. Very positive. I don't have any one single negative aspect to tell you that it happened to me. And I travel twice a year, not knowing where I'm going next, but I will go, because my interest is music and being with musicians and being in the society. No book can really tell you these things in real way. What you read in the books is mostly what the author wants to share with you, and that's his or her opinions. Right now, when I go there, I bring out my opinion, and if I get a chance, I may write it down, but they're worth just talking about, like, this happened, that happened. And three things are very important for me in maintaining a relationship with any human being I come in contact with. And these three things are very much related to my Indian origin, my Indian philosophy, and the way I was brought up in the family, the way I learned my music, and all these aspects over the years as I'm working with them, they have begun to really take a very distinctive shape. And those three things I want to mention to you is that number one is my respect, my love, and whatever else you can think of. Respect towards my teacher, the way I was taught Indian classical music. I lived with my teacher for 11 and a half years, 24 hours a day, being fed and being taken care of without giving him a single penny in return. And the only way I can return that, what I've received from him, is through dedication to his name and dedication to his music, which he has given me. So with this thing, I'm very, very clear where I want to sing my music and how I want to sing my music, and I have not compromised that thing, no matter how much prestige, honor, or financial thing may come in my side. I will not take that if it is not within the boundary which I have imposed for me where I will sing this music, because my music is my worship. And you do not worship unless you are comfortable with the situation you are in. So that number one thing has given me very strong personal belief in myself. And second thing is that whatever task I undertake, I will do it. I'm not going to give in. No matter how many times you say no, 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 but if I want that, I will get it from you. Yes, 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 yes. And I've been very successful in that also. With all respect, Not I'm encroaching in your areas, but showing you that why and how I want this thing from you, and trying to convince you. And my music again has come to help me a lot. Any musician will open its door to me if I sing for him. If you are a singer and I sing for you, you will have a hard time controlling yourself not to sing for me. Oh, I can sing too. That kind of feeling. And that opens the door. Once we become in that point, that there's no need to have you are good or I am good. We are musicians. We have a common platform that opens the door for where I will sleep, where I will stay, who will feed me, and all that. And life is good. And I've gotten away with really recording some wonderful music and really living in a wonderful situation. Think about if you wake up in the morning and you have nothing but chicken pox all over you. This is not really chicken pox, but these are fleas which have bitten you. Isn't that life beautiful? If I complain, where I will be? There is no hotels, and I have to live there for 4 months or 3 months or 3 weeks. What I'm going to do? Complain or have good time? So better have good time, and that's what I do. Okay, so that's number 2, and that is in Indian terms it is called dedication, your sincere belief, and if you really literally translate it, it means endless practice, which is a musical term. When you practice endless, you don't look at your time and you practice, same thing for months. For 1 year, I learned nothing but straight up and down scale, singing for about 8-10 hours a day. 1 year, 365 days. That was my first lesson. If you can do it, you're in good shape. So that's it's called practice. And the last one is that whatever you do, if you can bring yourself to be little below the person you want something from. I want it so you are in high position. So I need to be very humble to you, very nice to you, and somehow get into your system that you will give it to me. And that's called humbleness in Indian tradition. And living with this kind of lifestyle and working with this kind of lifestyle for almost 50 years or so now, and traveling with this philosophy in different directions. In India, I have gone there almost more than 30 times, not to visit my families, mind it, but to go to rural areas where there are no hotels, there are no tea stalls, and you live a very simple life, sleeping on a dirt floor and eating whatever they offer you. And that's where my music is, because I did a lot of research on folk music. I sing classical music, but I'm very much attached to folk music. And folk music is mostly in the rural areas, so I have to go there and live with them and share whatever they can help me with. So I'm eating with them, sleeping with them, getting bitten by the mosquitoes and all that, but good time. One time I jumped in a swimming pool, a nice pond, a village pond, which only fills up during rainy season and is used for all purposes throughout the year. By the time summer comes, it has nice green grime all on top of it. And you see the buffalo is also taking bath, people are washing their clothes, and people are swimming, and you see little drainage is also dropping in that pond. And my friend said, "Come on, Tewari." And I close my nose and jump in. Ha, 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 ha. I'm still happy, I'm still there. And with doing that kind of openness with them and sharing and jumping with them, I got everything I needed because I became one of them. It was not, I'm coming from America or I'm coming for this purpose. I'm doing exactly what they are doing, and as a result, the doors were so very open that I cannot express the feeling I have how they share the information with me. I want you to play one song for you, which I recorded in 1972. And I think that because this is a unique instrument, it's almost disappeared from the Indian scene. And when I talk about my folk music, I'm not talking about all of India. I come from a state called Uttar Pradesh, which is in northern part. If I can run that far, right here, okay? And within that part, I am very close to the area, which is my hometown where I was born, and only about 20-30 mile radius. I have been researching for the last 30 years in that area, and still finding new material. So as a child, I had remembered one of the songs which were played during wedding time. And when I was doing my research, I was constantly looking for this instrument and was not getting any success. But finally, in one village, somebody said, yes, I do think we know who can play that music for you. So they take me to that musician, and I asked my musician, could you please play that instrument for me? And he said, yes, but I have given that instrument to the pawn shop. Oh, so I asked him, can we go to the pawn shop and get it back? He said, if you pay the money. I said, I will pay the money. So we went to the pawn shop, nearby town. I paid the money. They got the instrument, came back to village, and they played for me. And after the recording session, they were giving that instrument to me, which is about 5 feet long, made of copper. And I said, no, you keep it. And I didn't bring it with me. But anyway, since then, 1972 to this day, I have not seen anybody mentioning that instrument, or anybody playing that instrument, or any picture of that instrument anywhere else. So please listen to this wonderful music, okay? Please, number 5. Number 11. Okay, he's putting it in the meantime. So that was one very good experience for me. What else I want to talk about you? I don't know. What should I talk about?
Do you have a picture of that instrument?
Oh my God. In my slide collection somewhere, but not right now here. You got me.
Is it a stringed instrument?
No, it's a end-blown horn, like a Tibetan dongchen.
Just like a nagasarama?
But no, it's too big. It's about 6 feet long. Now let me tell you what you heard. Then I ask you whether you laugh or not. This instrument used to be played during wedding time. And what they're playing on these melodic phrases have a literal meaning as well. What they in this particular piece they're playing is called Bujeri ke Dahijara, Bujeri ke Dahijara, Bujeri ke Dahijara, Bujeri ke Dahijara. And if I translate that to you, it means son of a whore, son of a whore, son of a whore, son of a whore. Bridegroom side is making fun of the groom side that you are nothing but a son of a whore. Too much time will go away before if I explain more, but a lot of these kind of things happen in the village folk traditions by which they have a joking relationships. Not everybody can make jokes. These are particular relationships which I have right to make jokes with the other person and so forth. And at appropriate time. You cannot get these things. I had to beg these musicians to please tell me what it means. Please tell me what it means. They were very reluctant to tell me what it means. But they did finally told me this thing, like that. So my really emphasis is a citizen of the world. When I am going to somebody's doorstep, I leave all my PhDs, my professorship, and my comfort back home, and I travel with a simple bag to adjust to whatever circumstances there are where I'll be working. And that way, I can really relate to people. I can show them that I'm really respectful. I have come to you. You need to help me. And with this kind of openness, it has been a very, very positive experiences for me, traveling in India, traveling in Turkey, traveling in Thailand, traveling in Africa, and traveling in Trinidad, who knows what. In one time in Thailand, I was not allowed to record certain chants because I was not a monk. And I wanted to record that. And they said, you cannot. So I went next year and became a monk for 6 weeks. And I recorded those things. You know, if that what it takes, I will do it for you. And I had a great time being a monk and enjoying what it means to be a monk. I mean, it's a hard life, but it's a wonderful life too. And so I got the experience of being a monk as a bonus point. I got my chant, yes, but that was bonus to be living as a monk. So I don't want to take too much time. I think I'm okay now. For how long?
You can wrap up.
Okay, wrap up. I'm done. If you have any questions, I'm here for you.
Yeah, was that one horn or two horns?
2 horns. Always 2. Always
Because
2.
I heard
Male, female.
Uh-huh. And are they they're like trumpets? They have like brass blowing now?
This big.
No reed then?
No
It's
reed,
like a,
this big.
I see.
And the end flare is about this wide. And the cone shape.
Sounds like a
And
trombone.
it comes into 3 pieces put together.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Yeah.
What's the
Predominant
predominant religion?
religion is Hinduism, local Hinduism, not that official Hindu.
All Hinduism.
Thank you.
Tough act to follow, but I will try. Sure. Actually, no. I'm fine with that. Can you hear me in the back?
Can you speak up just a little bit?
A little bit.
A little bit, okay.
Can you keep it low there? I'll keep it
Get right up to your mouth there.
Okay. What I thought I'd do is give you all a little bit of the history. My title is India Then and Now. India then, some historians say that India is not an underdeveloped country, it is an overdeveloped country. So with that in mind, I wanted to go over some of the things. You see posters on the walls. One of them says, the many religions practiced in India. India truly embodies a lot of the diversity that you see in the United States. That's the only other country which is equally diverse. We have Hindus, we have Muslims, we have Sikhs, we have Christians, we have Parsis, we have Jains, we have Buddhists, we have Baha'i. So how is it that they managed to still not destroy each other? Because we are in some ways fighting a war over here between Islam and Christianity, according to some. One of the people who lived in India then was Ashoka. Ashoka is one of the kingdoms. There's two posters there, the orange one and the green one about him. His lifetime spanned 269 BCE to 232 BCE, and he's the one responsible for spreading Buddhism to much of Asia. This legacy of the stream of focusing on the humanity of every single human being by valuing peace or nonviolence was nationalized by Gandhi much later, and Gandhi called it Satyagraha. There's a poster there too where Gandhi is supposed to have said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth leaves the whole world blind and toothless. And Gandhi himself was almost blind and toothless by the time he said that. Martin Luther King and Cesar Chavez have both used Gandhi's legacy and brought about change in this country. Arun Gandhi, who is his grandson, Mahatma Gandhi's grandson, carries on that legacy, as do people like Michael Nagler from UC Berkeley, or Arundhati Roy, those of you who like to read the latest fiction and nonfiction too. So their legacies, which are lived through the Peace Studies and Global Studies program, continue to live on today. Who are the Indians? The Migrations and Invasions poster there points out to you that the Indians are a combination of many different people. The Aryans, the Persians, you can just go down the list. It's a whole impressive list. So racially, we have people who are very fair, very dark, and all the shades in between. Of course, there is a preference for people who are fair, lighter skinned, but that is not unique to India. That happens to be everywhere. One of the things that was very amazing about India then is that the poster on metallurgy, please check it on your way out. Ashoka created some wonderful pillars which survive to this day. And these pillars, made out of a combination of metals, never rusted. They have lived outside for more than 2,000 years, and they never rust. Metallurgists today have still yet to figure out what is the combination. Ashoka is also remarkable for another thing. He provided universal medical care for every single person. Does that appeal to anybody in this country? Of course, that's not saying that that is where India is now. There are a lot of poor people also. But at the same time, he also provided for bird hospitals, animal hospitals, and cosmetic surgery was practiced then. There are saws which were used for doing nose jobs or whatever else that survive to this day. Disease is treated differently. There is Ayurveda in India. Dr. Deepak Chopra, some of you may have read him. is one of the proponents of that system of medicine. A friend of mine went to a fancy clinic in Boston, thinking she could get the best diabetic care for her diabetes. She'd come from India. She goes there, on the entrance is a shloka in Sanskrit. Diabetes used to be called madhumeh, the Indian word for sweet blood. And many of you, India now, medical care can be outsourced. People go to India to get a vacation and get your medical care taken care of also. It is one of the remarkable features. Apollo hospitals, started often by doctors who were in this country and then went back home, set up a lucrative business. They don't, of course, provide care for every Indian person. But those who are willing to pay are able to also get the care they want. Outsourcing is not only for hospitals, but business. All of you may be familiar with some of the stories. Any business majors in this audience will be very familiar with globalization as it applies to India. Aryabhat and Ramanujan carried on the mathematical legacy. India is where the concept of zero was discovered, or supposedly so. The decimal system contributed a great deal to what followed in science and technology. In the age before the radio, television, movies, and the willing suspension of disbelief was evoked by storytellers and artists such as the ones that Dr. Tewari referred to. And of course, everybody's familiar with Kama Sutra from India. And this legacy is carried on today by people like Salman Rushdie, Shashi Tharoor, Deepak Chopra, and others who are equally conversant in the West and the East. The Indus Valley civilization, which flourished about 5,000 years ago, used disposable vessels, could be the disposable drinking cups, kasoras, the same kind that you see at Indian railway train stations selling chai. When the train pulls in, the vendors come out, the free enterprise system. The vendors will cry out their wares, chai, chai, and you get it in a small earthen cup, which is biodegradable, disposable. So some of our controversy, some of our heritage continues. The controversy I wanted to mention is that the New York Times reported on September 19, 2006, that in 2003, 17,107 farmers in India committed suicide. That's a very troubling trend in globalization. One reason is the Monsanto Corporation. Another could be the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank. I'm not an economist, but certainly the Union Carbide accident in Bhopal, India, was devastating. And this is mentioned in Arundhati Roy's latest book, not the latest, one of the latest books, the recent books. It's called The Cost of Living. It talks about the dam in India being built on the Narmada River, which is funded by the World Bank. This illustrates that Western-style industrial development may not be economically desirable, let alone sustainable in human terms. But the monetary power of the West remains. One thing puzzles many Indians, or many people, is when they hear, they're traveling, they check into a hotel or motel, and they see an Indian person behind the desk. Hotel, motel, patel is how many Indians, many patels will joke about it. These are very industrious people who came to this country after the ouster of, after the ascent of Idi Amin in Uganda, some of them, and others from Gujarat around Mumbai. Mumbai is the new name for Bombay. Many came as refugees, got into hotels and motels where they could, and they and their entire family could work, and they could not buy insurance. So what do these industrious people do when they can't buy insurance? They start their own insurance companies. And in a few decades that have elapsed since then, they not only own those motels, they also own insurance companies. They may not always be the front desk person that you see, because they realize that their clothing, their accent, etc., might be not too conducive to business practices, so they will be in the back room. But make no mistake, they own the business still. In Rohnert Park, we have a Patel Co-Credit Corporation in the Mountain Shadows area. Spelling bee success stories, that's another thing that seems to surprise many people here. So many young people with unpronounceable names are winning our spelling bees in this country. How do they do that? It goes back to the simple thing of having the family values, however trite that sounds, and the emphasis on education. In California, we have a long history of Punjabi farmers who've come here for freedom. They were barred from bringing their wives, so many of them married the Mexican women who were similar coloring and who did not object to another brown-skinned person. They were denied to own land, but they do own much of the Imperial Valley upward, all the way up the Central Valley in California. Much of the land that is in non-industrial farms. Some were barred from citizenship. U.S. versus Bhagat Singh in 1923, when a citizenship of an army veteran was revoked because he was not a, quote, white Aryan by the U.S. Supreme Court. Those are the exact words Justice Sutherland used. And then things changed around. And we had Dalip Singh Song in 1946, I believe, who became the first Asian congressman from California. Now we have Muhammad Yunus, the first Bangladeshi to win the Nobel Prize for his microcredit loans to lift the poor people out of poverty. Some people say that microloans do not work, whatever the reason. He has had some success. I'd like to mention one other thing, or two other things before I finish up here and allow for your questions. The idea of worshiping females is not new to India, or unique. The cult of the Devi, or the mother goddess, is not new. At the same time, we have a lot of women who are not treated well. We have dowry deaths, women who are burned alive. And at the same time, we had people like in Antonia Fraser's book, Warrior Queens. She mentions Laxmi Bai, Rani of Jhansi, who says very loudly, "Hum apni Jhansi nahi chhodenge," meaning I will not live, I will not give up my Jhansi. This was under the British. So all of this diversity exists simultaneously. Whatever you go looking for in India, you will find. You go looking for music, you will find music. You go looking for inequality, you will find inequality. You go looking for spirituality, you will find spirituality. India now, we have 1 out of every 6 people in the whole world who live in India. Villages abound, and at the same time, you have very modern up-to-date satellite technology, which is allowing the computer industry to have offices there as well as here. The British set up their factories, as they call them. Madras and Calcutta were first factories set up in our history. The Arabs came in their dhows to India, and before that, along the Silk Route, the caravans would come. I will conclude with just a few words from Jawaharlal Nehru, who was India's first Prime Minister and quite a poet also. And then I'll open it for your questions. India is a geographical and economic entity, a cultural unity amidst diversity, a bundle of contradictions held together by a strong but invisible thread. Overwhelmed again and again, her spirit was never conquered. About her there is an elusive quality of a legend of long ago. Some enchantment seems to have held her mind. She's a myth and an idea, a dream and a vision, and yet very real, present, and pervasive. None of her children can forget her wherever they go or whatever strange fate befalls them. For she is a part of them in her greatness and failings, and they are mirrored in those deep eyes of hers that have seen so much of life's passion, joy, folly, and look down into the wisdom's deep well. However she changes, and change she must, that old witchery will continue and hold the hearts of people. Though her attire may change, she will continue as of old, and her store of wisdom will help her to hold on to what is true and beautiful and good in this harsh, vindictive, and grasping world. So, all the contradictions, everything goes simultaneously in India. It's baffling to people, but if you have the patience, there's nothing like it. Thank you.
I have one question about the ancient Indian civilization. There have been more new evidences coming out in light, where we have found sunken cities, desert, dry riverbeds, and so forth. And with the satellite images coming from there, it is believed that the theory of the Aryans coming from outside is ridiculous.
Yes.
It is believed that the India was already established with the people, and they were moving out from India rather than coming into India. So
You mean from Africa? Rather than from Africa?
they were in India itself, because the civilization which is going back now is taking that Indian civilization back to about 9,000 BC. They have found a sunken city in the Bay of Gujarat next to Bombay area, which is the last city which is mentioned in our literature, the land of Krishna, our god Krishna, and we didn't know where that is. But we have, because of the technology available to us, we have found those sunken cities, dry riverbeds, which we had forgotten they existed. And that all is changing the whole old British Indian history. It is now beginning to be Indian history written by Indians.
Yeah, because the traditional idea was that the Aryans had invaded.
They brought culture and civilization.
Well, and that the idea that the caste system came in because the Aryans wanted to preserve the purity of the Aryan race, and Hitler got that idea and garbled it and thought that the Germans were Aryan until they weren't, but that was conquered. That it wasn't an issue of one people conquering another. That's what that theory was.
So a lot of different opinions about it, but the primary goal is, as Dr. Tewari said, I think you should be up here.
It's okay, it's okay.
Will
You are
repeat
doing
the
good.
question?
I'm sorry.
Will you repeat his comment, the question?
I'm sorry.
Yes?
Will you just repeat what you said?
The comment and the question.
Comment, oh my God. I was questioning this old theory, which is more written in the British history about Indian books and so forth, and being popularized by mostly Western scholars, that the Indian population came from Aryans, and Aryans came to India. But the new evidences which we are now gathering through the new technologies, that we can record things underground, undersea, and also bringing out very new archaeological evidences, which at preliminary studies may take India to about 9,000 BC. And the theory is, which is coming more and more in the, what we call open-minded scholars, is believing that India was established, had a population, and because of its 4 ways of life, that the last part of your life you became a wanderer. They were wandering from their homeland and settling their different schools at different parts so that they can meditate, they can retell their history, philosophy to the young children, which was the case. They were establishing their little colonies in and around and all over Central Asia and so forth. And that's the expansion theory, which is coming and accepted more and more by the younger scholarships.
Dr. Vasant Lad, who is an, Dr. Vasant Lad, LAD, he's an Ayurvedic doctor who's written a lot about this too. The city that Dr. Tewari refers to is Dwarka, which has been found near Mumbai.
What would be your advice to people who can only visit India for 2 weeks? The top 5 things that will give them the most unique, the most beautiful.
Get on the plane and go. Get on the plane and go.
I am going.
Good for
I
you.
bought my ticket, but
But
2
don't
weeks,
think
where
beforehand.
should I go? Where, like,
Well, that's too big a question to really answer here. I don't know how you'll answer it. But just go some places, choose and go.
No, but since you know so much about India, what would be your top 5 recommendations for people to go?
Well, you can't do India in a couple of days, or a
No,
couple of
that's
weeks, or a
why.
couple of years even. So pick one part and do that well.
Yeah, see, but which part to pick?
Okay?
That's why we
Well, we have our biases, I'm sure.
That's fine.
I can't speak for him, but I think Dr. Tewari would probably say something in the area where he grew up, perhaps. I would say something in the area where I grew up. So everybody you meet will say something like this. You might say something very different.
I would say nothing.
Mona Chaudhary is there. She's in the chemistry department. She would say something different.
Okay, then why don't you just tell me your best thing? Then I got
I would go to
things.
Santa Rosa. I cannot answer that question. You should understand.
Ask them where they're from.
I cannot understand. I cannot, because
No, for example, if you ask me about China, I would say you
Well,
have to go to.
see, Indians have this unique way of saying yes and no at the same time. And that's what we're doing.
I'm not a travel. I'm really mean it really because advice is there. I have to know your background, why you're going, and all that.
No, I just
It's
want
not
to see
the space
something
to
that's
really answer
unique
the
about
question.
India. I mean, something.
Like
All
you
of
said,
it.
everything is unique.
Huh?
Everything is unique.
Then you're not helping anybody.
I've been to China twice and not getting where I will go.
Huh?
And I've traveled and had a great time.
Oh yeah, I know I will have a great time, but I think I will have a better time if I know that I got your experience, because you have seen a lot, right?
Any place that you
But
go
it's
to will be
expensive. My
fine.
airplane ticket is very expensive, so I just want to.
Yeah. Just make sure you don't drink the local water too often. Otherwise, your 2 weeks will go by pretty fast.
I'm just curious, you mentioned that there's a large Indian population in Central Valley,
Yes.
and that's also a section that tends to be more conservative, so I wonder if that population is also more conservative, or is it?
I don't know if they are conservative or not, or the political affiliation, but I do know that population has assimilated, and yet, if you go to Yuba City, you'll find the radio stations playing Punjabi, Gurmukhi music, and from the Punjabi scripture. I don't know.
What's the percentage of the population that's Punjabi?
In Yuba City, it's
Yeah.
very high. The total,
20%?
I don't have the
10%?
numbers specifically.
60%?
Of the local area, yeah, and around Yuba City is close to 50%.
I wanted to ask about the suicides of the farmers. Was that
Yes.
en masse or just a cumulative? And
No,
did it have the
these
impact?
are individual suicides because they have borrowed money to buy seed that does not germinate. They can't save that for the next harvest. They can't plant it again. So the Franken Foods that we talk about here, Monsanto has done that. So although in India's 1 billion people, that's a small number, it is terrible that such a large number of farmers have committed suicide. 17,000.
Has it had any kind of an impact on
Well,
Monsanto or anyone else about what they're doing?
Indians hate the idea of many of the multinationals. Coca-Cola is reviled, because they've opened a plant in Kerala where they will use the groundwater. So Coca-Cola is hated. There was a sign during Indira Gandhi's rule. There was a sign which said Coca-Cola had to leave the country because they wouldn't allow Indian ownership. And when they came back, they put up beautiful signs saying, "We're back, Coke," and a little swirl. And somebody had crawled up on one poster I saw in Mumbai, which said, "Until we kick you out again." And nobody erased it or papered over it.
There's a lot of Coca-Cola in Bollywood movies, though. A lot of
Everywhere.
product placement.
Everywhere. Yeah.
During this series, we had a speaker who was speaking about China or Asia and the myth of the brain regain.
Oh,
that
yes.
smart young people move.
Brain drain.
Yeah, and they move to study in the United States or.
Yeah. Roshni Rustamji, Kearns, and I have explored that a little bit in our book, Living in America. It is terrible to think that brains are finite and we can drain them. I mean, that's part of the question is so based in colonial fallacies that doesn't. Any other questions? We have 5 more minutes. Where would you go? Should I give you recommendations? Is that what
I
you?
would love to have that.
Where's your ticket to?
New Delhi.
Delhi. So you go to Delhi. I'm from Delhi, so that's easier for me. But so is Mona. If you see around Gurgaon, which is near the airport, you get to see a lot of the high-tech companies, all the 800 number calls that you place at any time of day. Many of them are over there. Simultaneously, you have the old Delhi, which is the Mughal part of Delhi, so spend about a day at least. You go to Chandni Chowk, in which you have the Kinari Bazaar and all the other little. Did you want to add something? Because you're from Delhi too. What would you recommend she see in Delhi?
Like first you go to Delhi and get a good feel of it. Where are you staying in Delhi? Do you know?
No, I don't know.
Okay, if you stay in the heart of the city, which is the New Delhi, Connaught Place, if you live over there, then you can cover Delhi. And one thing I would recommend to you, highly recommend, is they have package tours. And
Lots
they
of them.
have luxurious air-conditioned buses. It will take you all around the city. There are buses for all around the city. And then there are other buses which will take you to Agra, which is the Taj Mahal, the wonders of the world.
There's a poster of
Definitely
it back
visit
there.
Taj Mahal. And then you can go to the adjacent state, which is Rajasthan. Then you can see Jaipur, which is called the Pink City of India. You will see all the
You can stay in the
beautiful
palace hotels.
and then you will see all the palaces over there. They are still in the, they have tried to keep a couple of them in the, as it was. And there you will see there is another place which is called Fatehpur Sikri, which was the capital of
Akbar's,
India in
yeah.
Akbar's time, Mughal time. So you'll get to see a lot of Mughal heritage. in one time concentrate in North India, which is like, we call it North India. Concentrate Delhi, Rajasthan, and nearby places. And next trip, maybe you can go down south, which is a total contrast of North India. Thank you.
Sure. Any other last questions? Did you want to add something?
No, thank you.
So globalization is, I'm sorry?
Where's that pond you was talking about?
Where's the pond you were talking about?
There you go. Like a
Yeah, like a
popular tourist spot.
It's right there.
In the village, because their water supply is very limited there, so they do dig a few ponds around, which are used for almost all kind of purposes. And during the rainy time, it's nice clean water. But as the summer heat intensifies and everything begins to pile up there, it becomes, it's still people swimming and having good time, so there's nothing wrong with it. But coming out and living in America, it was a little bit, that kind of little, you have to think about it. But again, if I think about it, then I would become not the real people for them, but somebody from outside. So to keep that kind of openness, I jumped in, and because they're jumping in, so what's wrong with me? So I jumped in. So that was my nice pond. I have a picture of it, but I didn't get time to show to you my video. I do have that pond in the video. What can I say? I don't have time for that.
What was the name of that instrument? Did it have a name?
Kandal. K as in kite, A-N, D as in dog, A-L. Very, very old instrument and mostly used for marriage ceremonies. But today you have to go with the little torchlight to find it. Yeah? I have a picture, I can sometime maybe send it to you.
Oh, we could put it on.
Okay.
So why is it going, why aren't people using it?
Because I have MTV.
Right?
Because I want to become modern, I want to have hip hop music, and all these things. I don't want that traditional instrument playing for my wedding. I want a modern British marching band playing out of tune, but it's a status thing. Instead of having a local instruments playing local music and so forth, we're opting for all these modern things which began to creep into India with British time, and today after independence we're becoming very free and modern. So we are not caring what we're missing and what we're replacing this whole thing. So that's the reason probably is missing. All right?
Well, thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much.